Well, today I thought it'd be good for us to have a meeting kind of talking about the rise in interest rates. I made a spreadsheet. I know everyone can tease me. Oh, Isaac with the spreadsheets. Okay. I made a spreadsheet that I thought was pretty helpful that I want to share with everybody. So I'll share this so you guys can use this with your clients if you'd like, but I'll share it right now for everybody. And then maybe this will kind of stir on the conversation. But interest rates for buyers who are like 5% down conventional, mid 600 credit scores hit 6% last Thursday. And it's crazy because, I guess, obviously we know that a rise in interest rates affects the payment. That's obviously the only effect that it has. But it's kind of crazy to look at a spreadsheet and see exactly how much it affects it. So this spreadsheet that I'll share with everybody, it calculates the payments and everything. So you can mess with it. But I think this is a little, I don't know, I think this will be really helpful, especially when talking to sellers, because buyers are just aware of the circumstances, but I'll explain why I think it's helpful for talking to sellers. But in December, we were looking at like 3.75, 3.5 interest rates. Now in April, we're at 6%. So the mortgage payment would be $4,271 today when it would have been $3,299 in December. That's a $972 difference. Absolutely crazy. So another way of looking at this is for a home to have the same payment in April that it would have in December, the price would have to dip by 23%, and that would be roughly the same payment. So the way I'm using this, I have a listing appointment tomorrow, and when you're looking at comps, you're going into the listing appointment and you have comps from October, November, December, January, February, when rates were just starting to go up, maybe some more recent comps. But I'm showing my sellers that, hey, the comps are telling me that it's 750, but just so you know, some of those comps were from a different time, not that long ago, a third of a year ago. And this is how a buyer is going to look at it. If a buyer only qualified for a $3,800 a month payment, they can only pay $580. In December, they could qualify for your home, but now they can only qualify for a $580,000 payment. That's kind of scary. I'm not saying this to be like a doom and gloom, go get a job at Starbucks person, but it's something to be aware of, especially when you're representing sellers, because this dramatically affects affordability for your clients and for your sellers' buyers. So anyways, I thought today would be fun to talk about objection handling, how you guys are talking to your buyers. On the flip side, for a buyer, if you had a buyer who qualified for 750, now they only qualify for 580, how are you handling that? What if the buyer is saying, well, I'm just going to wait for the market to dip because look, it has to dip by at least 23%, right? How are you guys handling that? I have my thoughts, but I feel like it'd be good for us to just kind of discuss this and see how other people are handling it.
Going all jump together, right?
Yeah. Let's all jump in at once.
I don't know. It's been tough. It's been tough talking to the buyers. I haven't really had time to talk to the sellers because I haven't had a listing recently. But a lot of the listings that I do have would be flips. So it is kind of scary because like I'm putting in offers today, now, I'm meaning in current time for these flips, and I'm comping, they're asking comps and I'm representing those comps, but if this does, who knows, it takes usually 3-4 months for them to get this flipped and put back on the market. And that's the scary part. Absolutely. Is that once you go on there and they're seeing what is sold now and they're looking at comps too. And that's a good point to have, is bringing up that interest rate for the sellers as well, instead of just buyers.
Absolutely. So here's another somewhat, again, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm just trying to point out things that I'm noticing, but along those lines, so in January, there were a total of 343 canceled listings. That's in the entire MLS. If you guys can see that. And then just in April, what's today? 19?
19.
245. So anyways, well, actually, I think the numbers I was looking at, that was more interesting. I was looking at last year. Last year numbers, January was when canceled listings started coming a little more. But I was looking at December and November and October, and there was like under 200 every month. And we're already at 250 and we're halfway through this month. So I think one interesting thing to take from this is get out your canceled listing script and start polishing that up. I think that's going to be a big opportunity to go to people who were not able to sell their homes because they overpriced it, because the listing broker was factoring the list price based off of the trajectory that we've been seeing. And that's really not how we should be listing homes anymore. If anything, we should be listing homes at the comps as opposed to a little above the comps like we've been getting away with for years, and potentially lower than the comps. I had a crazy one last month where the comps were all showing 950, 925 to 975, but right around 950. And so my sellers and I decided to list at 900. And I was a little trepidatious about it because there were some oddities about the home. And I even asked like a few brokers in our office, hey, what do you think? They were all saying minimum 925, high of 975. So we listed at 899 and we got 0 offers.
Oh,
Yeah, it was crazy. And anyways, they ended up canceling their listing. They weren't really desperate to sell. It was kind of like let's try to sell at the top of the market and see what happens. And they're going to just keep living there. But yeah, I feel like that was just not happening. We've been able to get away with just listing at the top of the market or a little above the top of the market and get multiple offers. And now that time is kind of seems to be going away. And what I've heard projection wise, rates are still going to go up. I mean, probably as high as 7.5 in the next few months. And then when you start running those numbers, 7% versus 3.75, back to $750,000 home. Oops. That's a almost $1,500 a month increase for the same home. So I think the moral of the story that I'm getting at is home prices have to at least plateau, if not go down a little bit. And if you're going into a listing appointment, it's so tough because you're competing against other real estate agents who are going to be saying, oh, everything's fine. And you don't want to be a downer, but at the same time, you also don't want to pay $800, $1,000 in marketing material and spend all this time and overprice a home and then have the client fire you and hire another broker who's more realistic with price.
yeah. I think it's sad for the buyers because I have some buyers that they're pre-approved at a pretty low amount, and that's been really hard. And I think with the increase in interest rate, one person that I'm thinking of specifically, it's really gonna, I think, price them out of being able to find something, because even the condos that are available, HOA is like $250 to $500, $600 a month. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. Another thing that I think is going to start coming back is ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages. I know that is somewhat of a bad word in the industry because everybody thinks of 2006 or 2007 when people were giving 1 or 2 year ARMs, and they were essentially saying, hey, your interest rate's going to be 3% for the first 2 years. So you only have to pay $2,000 a month. And kind of in the fine print saying after 2 years, it's going to go up to 6%. So when their rate went up to 6% and they barely had paid anything off on the home, they now couldn't afford the home, which was predatory lending. And many people lost their licenses because of that. However, there are new regulations regarding ARMs, and I think it's going to become more of a viable option. So some new products that some banks are offering now and some mortgage brokers are like 5-7 year ARMs. that you get essentially like 1.5% less for the first 5 to 7 years. And then it goes up to 6%, right? So it goes up after that to a little higher. It's about, you get about 1% off of what it would be. So let's say it's 5.5 today for a 720 credit score buyer. And it's a 5.5 today. You would get it for 4.5 for the first 5 years. And then it would go up to 6 in 5 years. That's a potentially attractive option to a seller. And I'll say a few reasons why is because, number one, in 5 years or sometime between now and the next 5 years, I firmly believe we're not going to be at 7% or 6%. I think rates are going to go down. Secondly, if your rate was 6% versus 5%, 5.5, you can still, it's still probably, you can afford the home, right? So the difference isn't that big. Whereas in the past, they were doubling your interest rate. After 2 years, you have some time to build some equity and refinance at that time, or build some equity and keep the loan at a 6% interest. So I think that's an interesting one to talk to some lenders about and see what they're offering as far as ARMs go. Because I mean, for some buyers, it might be their only option. Going to your example, Christy, if you had a buyer who qualified for $500,000 home, like a lower level home at 3.75, and we're at 6% today. Oh, I didn't correct that. So their payment would be $648 more per month. They probably can't swing that, but if they could get that rate at 5% today, that's only $350 more per month.
Yeah.
And they stick with the 5% for, 5 years, hope that interest rates go down in the meantime, and they can refinance. And if not, eventually it'll go up to 6.5. And hopefully by then their income has increased. But it's something you want to be really careful if you're talking to a client about, because again, it is kind of a bad word in real estate. People think of ARMs as like predatory lending, and oh, you're just a scumbag real estate broker who's just trying to get me to buy a home I can't afford. So it's not something I would lead with. But if you have a client who's just absolutely discouraged, again, if we go back to he or she's at 6% today, well, for only $350 more, you can get the same home. Or we went to like a $425,000 home, that's a little more palatable, or I guess it'd be more like $435. That's a little more palatable than if they really wanted to just match the exact same payment without an ARM. They'd be looking at, I'm going fast here, but close to that. So anyways, that's an option I'm probably going to be floating by clients and proposing if they're really stuck. And again, using your example, Christy, $500,000 buyer, they're not interested in $390,000 homes. So, what if we use an ARM?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I would talk to your lenders and see what they have to offer, because every lender is going to be a little different. Rates are going to be consistent across the board, right? You might find one lender who's 5.75 and one lender who's 6 or 6.2 or whatever, but they're all pretty similar. But the different products they offer can really make or break it for a client.
Mm-hmm.
Is this, in like, just a side note, would this be a good time to work with a mortgage broker, because they would know more programs that are available from like different areas? Or would you still recommend sticking with the lender?
I'd recommend shopping. I would tell the lender that you're working with, I want to hear what you have to offer. Here's my problem. I'm working with a buyer who qualified for 5. Now he qualifies for 390. What can you do? Like, what options do you have? Try and find lenders who are creative. Don't necessarily fire a lender because they aren't creative, because it may not be that they're not creative. It may just be that their bank doesn't offer those options, in which case, go to a broker or call other institutions. So yeah, I would say be creative. I have been, for the past week now, as rates have really skyrocketed, been just calling lenders I know and just saying, all right, how are you handling this? Because we're both working with buyers here. Like, what are you doing? And they have to be creative, because if you think about it, we still have buyers and sellers. Lenders have buyers and refinances, and they don't have refinances. Mm-hmm. This would be like, for lenders right now, it would be like if you had no more sellers, if you couldn't get any sellers for next year, which they probably won't. I mean, they're not going to get refinances. except for like one-offs occasionally because someone's desperate. So that's how a lender's feeling right now. So they're hungry. They need buyers right now. So go to lenders and just start interviewing them. Do you want my business? Tell me what you can do to help me and my clients. And so I've really been doing that.
If you guys, I've been shopping for lenders for a while now, just because the preferred lender that I work with, a lot of my buyers we will go under contract and then they will shop around and then I have to switch over a lender in the middle of a contract. So I've noticed that pattern. So I've been steering away from this specific lender, but currently also shopping. So if you guys have any recommendations, send them here.
Yeah, I can send you a few there's two in particular who I've met with in the past 7 days who have some cool loan products. And again, like I always say this, like makes no difference who you use for me. Like I don't make anything if you use them. I just prefer people who are good at what they do. And in this case, work for a company that can offer some creative options because I mean, we need to be creative. I mean, these numbers don't lie. We need a 22% drop in values, which I don't think is going to happen, at least anytime soon. So we got to find a way to make this work for buyers. So, yeah, I mean, another thing you can talk to buyers about is, I mean, I've talked about this before, but how are buyers qualified? Let's just use sample numbers. Depending on the type of loan, whether it's VA, FHA, or conventional, it's going to be a little different. But debt to income of 50% of their gross take home. So let's use an example for simple numbers of somebody, a husband and wife who make a combined income of 120,000. This is key, before taxes. So 120 before taxes. They're going to qualify for, so that's 10,000 a month. They're going to qualify for a $5,000 a month payment, but that's after debt. So if they have a $500 car payment, a $400 car payment, now we're at $4,900, and they have $300 in student loans, now we're at $3,800, and a $200 credit card payment, now we're at $3,600. But they really want to be at that 4,000 a month range. So how do you do that? Well, it's not easy to just go increase your income by 400. Oh wait, it's not 400. You have to increase it by 800 a month, right? Because it's 50% of that. So that's easier said than done, right? So the best way to do that, or the easiest way, maybe not the best, is to reduce your monthly debt. So consolidation loans, that would be a big one, right? You get $50,000 loan, pay off your student loan, your credit card, and your 2 cars. And now you have one payment of a $50,000 payment amortized over 10 years. And maybe that total payment is $700 a month. Well, that's still way better because now 700, I say it was at 12, right? Whatever. Yeah, it was a random example, but that increases their buying power by $500 a month. So debt consolidation is probably a big one. And then there are some lenders that are starting to offer personal loans to do that. Again, kind of like that consolidation loan, but they'll do it in conjunction with a home loan, which will be a little cheaper. So that's another one. If you guys are talking to lenders, I would ask them about ARMs. I'd ask them about debt consolidation loans, and then pick their brain. What are you doing? Because again, they're more desperate than we are. I mean, I wouldn't even say we're desperate at this point. We're losing buyers who are now being, pushed out of the market, and maybe some sellers are a little more trepidatious. But we're still doing fine, at least today. But lenders aren't. So pick their brains and try and find clever lenders who have clever ideas on how to get a buyer qualified.
I like it.
Yeah. Shoot, I had something else to say about that. Oh, I was talking to TJ Tuttle in our office about this exact thing, and he made a good point. Again, this is probably premature right now because as of today, the market hasn't slowed down. I wrote 4 offers for a single client this weekend.
Okay, easy turbo. I'm trying to beat out these interest rates, man.
So I guess secret's out. So Rachel and we wrote 4 offers for her and her boyfriend for 4 different homes. They were, correct me if I'm wrong, Rachel, 55,000, 50,000, 20,000, and 15,000 above list price. 4 different homes in Port Orchard we offered 465 on all 4 homes, 10,000 2280, 20% down conventional, waived inspection on all but 1. None were accepted. Yeah, brutal. Rachel might be looking for a new real estate agent, by the way, if anyone's looking.
No.
Yeah, if anybody can do better than Isaac, let me know.
Yeah, that would be no one.
And I had to tell her that we missed out. I had to tell her that we missed out on 2 of them on her birthday yesterday. So that was fun.
No, that's not true. You didn't have to tell me that on my birthday.
You could have waited, Isaac. You could have
waited.
You could have sent it 12:01 today.
Or just told my boyfriend and told him not to tell me,
Well,
that's a lot of pressure on the boyfriend.
Yeah, considering that I was getting texts every hour. Have you heard back? Have you heard back?
I wanted to know about one specifically. I wanted to know.
But my point in saying that is the market hasn't dipped, right? It's not, I haven't even seen it slow down really, except for my weird listing a few weeks ago.
Isn't that funny how that works? It's always when you like list it. Well, not always, I guess. Maybe it's just me and you, Isaac.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's no fun. But anyways, it hasn't slowed down yet. But TJ's point was, as it starts to slow down and we see less offers on homes, which I do think we're going to see soon. I don't think the market's going to dip yet because we need. It can't dip when you have multiple buyers for one seller, right? It's impossible. But as buyers start to get pushed out of the market and just sit, now would be a really good time to talk to those sellers who have been like, well, I want to sell my home and upgrade, or I want to sell my home and downgrade, but no contingent offers are accepted. We're getting really close to a time where contingent offers will be accepted. I would also say we're getting close to a time where people have bad credit and they were zero down FHA buyers who were like, and needed sellers to pay their closing costs. They were like, no one's going to do that. Those buyers are going to become more viable now because there are going to be less buyers per seller. And so it's not unlikely, not now, but again, in the next couple months, that sellers will start negotiating at least on terms. So I think that was something that TJ said, just to give credit to him, that I thought was really brilliant. It's a good time to, first off, reach out to anybody you've sold a home to in the past few years. If you're a newer broker and you haven't sold many homes to people, just reach out to anyone you know who owns a home and point out, this is the state of the market. Interest rates will affect values. It has to, but it hasn't yet, or if it has, very little. So if you are planning on selling the next 2 years, and this I really believe like 100%, you should sell soon. Like, I would not wait. If you were planning on selling next year, I'd really consider selling now, because your home value will, again, I wouldn't guarantee anything, but show them the spreadsheet. Like I said, I'm going to share this with everybody so you guys can use this, but show them the spreadsheet. How can values not go down? I mean, for the same payment, it would have to drop by 22 to 23% for the same payment. It has to, right? So I think now's a really good time to start reaching out to past clients who bought homes, seeing how they're doing. And if they, if they're stoked about their 2.5 interest rate that they got 2 years ago, and they're like, yeah, we're good, we're going to stay here for a while, that's great. But the people who are really considering that move to Texas or Idaho, I don't, so many clients who moved to Idaho or Texas. Yeah. It's not political at all. But to all those people, now might be the best time.
Yeah, and I think that you're right about the, we're going to start seeing like more contingent offers in play, because with this listing, out of the 5 offers that we got, 3 of them were contingent on them selling their home, which I have not seen that at all. And so I was really quite surprised that is, something that people are comfortable doing now. Absolutely.
Yeah. Another group of sellers I would target is investors. I mean, this, again, not getting political, but this state is not attractive to investors. It has gotten, in the past 2 years since COVID, very unattractive to real estate investors. And if they're fed up of the new landlord tenant laws, and they're planning on selling in the near future and reinvesting in some out of state and a more landlord friendly state, I could argue that now is the best time to do that.
That's true.
Anything positive? Does somebody have something cool to say? But on the bright side,
anybody?
Not positive, but like an observance. I was just curious about the Seattle market. And so I pulled up all the active homes in Seattle right now. And out of like 27 pages, more than half of those have been on the market for over 30 days.
Yeah, that's again overpricing right there. And
Yeah.
how many of those are going to end up being canceled listings?
So insane. So insane.
When I started in the business, 2015, I moved to Tacoma, and I knew nobody but my wife's uncle and aunt, so I knew no one. And I had to build business totally the opposite organically. Well, I guess organically in a different way, but I had to like go out and find clients because I didn't have anyone in my sphere. And the vast majority of my business came from canceled and expired listings. I got a Google Voice number, and so I could text from my computer, because at the time I didn't have a Mac. Now I can just do that. But I would text from my computer, and I would just copy and paste. I had Matrix up on one side and Google Voice on another side, and I would copy the owner's phone number, paste in there, and send the same text. Hey, my clients are looking for a home in your neighborhood. I see your home was for sale, and they can't find anything that is of interest to them. Wanted to know if you're still interested in selling. Now, this is on record, so I want to not sound like a slimy salesman. I didn't normally have a buyer, but I worked in an office that we probably had a buyer, right? So when they would say yes, I would reach out to everyone in the office. Hey, I've got a potential listing in North Tacoma, 3 beds, 2 baths. They're around the 450 range. Yes, they were 450 at that time. And if anybody has a buyer, let me know. Maybe somebody did, maybe they didn't. And I would go tour the home. I'd say, let me run this by my buyer. And then normally I'd come back to them and say, it's not going to work for my buyer, but just so you know, here's some things we could do to get your home sold, because I really think we can sell it at this price point. Are you interested in that? Compliment them, right? That was key. That right when I would get to the house the first time, I'd find something that was clearly like something the owner was proud of. Normally, like their landscaping, right? Landscaping is generally something that someone's really proud of because they've worked really hard on their garden or their deck that they just built or whatever. And I'd be like, wow, what a beautiful deck. You guys clearly put a lot of thought into that. And they're like, yeah, we just did that 2 years ago. We love it. We spend all our time out here. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I bet any buyer is going to fall in love with that, and get them to like me and trust me. And then even if they weren't ready, even if they were still burnt from just not being able to sell a month ago, they're like, no, we're taking a break. Then at least they're in your database and you stay in touch with them. And maybe you do have a buyer who's looking for a home, and then you can go to your buyer and say, hey, not only do I have the homes on the market that I'm sending you, I actually have a home off market. And now you seem more special to your buyer too. So anyways, I love canceled and expired listings. I haven't done that in years because there aren't any, but I think it's an awesome strategy.
Cool.
Yeah. Andrew, any positivity from you? Come on, man.
No positivity. No. It all
I
seems doom and gloom, but there are still closings every day.
Yeah, that's the positive. There's still lots of transactions happening.
No matter what. Yep.
No matter what.
As a buyer, this is a very encouraging spreadsheet.
Yeah.
That's the worst. The last conversation I had with the lender, we ended it off with, well, you know, you're in a better place. At least you're not a buyer right now.
Oh.
Jeez.
That felt personal, Hannah. That felt very personal.
I'm sorry. I really
okay.
am, Rachel. That sucks.
No, it is what it
if
is.
you are shopping for a real estate agent.
Yeah.
I'll keep you in mind.
Sorry, Isaac, I had to.
Well, I deserve that, I guess. Probably not.
Yeah, it's
Well-
funny. Isaac told me and my boyfriend the other day that we must have good taste in homes because we're losing out on so many. And I was like, yeah, we should have made an offer on Verde. Had to
That was
pour a little
scene
salt in
I,
the wound.
Oh,
Yeah,
Sorry,
speaking
Isaac.
of, if anybody is interested in a gorgeous home, 5 beds, 3.5 bathrooms, 3,000 square feet, North End Tacoma, completely remodeled for $900,000. Let me know.
It is beautiful. It's a gorgeous home. It was quite stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. I'm just saying I think everybody should be aware of this. You know, if you're talking to buyers, again, Rachel, I'm going to pick on you. I really think interest rates are going to keep going up. I don't think we're done at 6. I really, really don't. And that's actually unanimously what I heard from every lender I spoke with in the past few weeks, that we're not done. So encouragement for when you're talking to buyers, if you really want to be buying a home next year or two, this still might be the best time. Maybe not, I don't know. Again, be really humble when you're talking to buyers and don't act like you can predict the future, because that's a quick way to get them pissed off at you. But I mean, I truly believe if you are, in Rachel's case, if you're set on buying a home next year, I don't think it's going to be better in 3 months or 6 months. I think maybe we won't see as many offers, but I think rates are going to be higher. And even if the market dipped by a little bit, it wouldn't be enough to affect another point in interest. So, you know, now's not the time to go to your buyers and say, don't buy a home. I suppose I'd understand if a buyer said that. But I truly don't think that would be the best piece of advice to them. And I really believe that as far as sellers go, I do think we are at the top. And I have not been one of those people that have said that since 2018. When people have said that for the past 3 years, I've always said, why do you think we're at the top? And they'd say, oh, well, it just can't continue, which isn't a reason. That's emotion speaking. Now there's a reason. Interest rates have gone up, right? Interest rates were going down and prices were going up, and the economy was great. And it's like, there's no reason the market's going to dip. Well, I will say I hesitated when COVID hit, and that was crazy that it just rode right through there. But with exception to that, for the past 4 or 5 years, I've been like, I don't see why the market's going to dip. So as far as a buyer goes, now is the best time to buy, because it's just going to be more and more and more expensive. And sellers saying, oh, I'm going to wait a little bit longer. Well, now's the time to be done waiting. If you're going to sell, I truly believe that. I mean, just for reference, last night, my wife and I were talking about moving into a smaller rental of ours and selling our home that we have like 150,000 in equity, just because, like, do we want to hold this home for another 3-4 years if a dip's coming? I'm not sure we're going to do that, but I was really having that conversation, and I'm going to be going to my sellers and telling them that, like, we're actually considering that, you know, selling at the top of the market right now, because this is probably obvious, but if your home is worth 500,000 and you owe 380,000, I'm using my home as an example. If the market dips by 20%, now it's worth 400,000, you owe 380,000, all that equity is gone. It's like, it's not gone because it will go back up eventually, but we don't have any of that. It was nice knowing, like, oh, well, we got a lot of equity in this home. That's great. But that's gone the second the market dips. So if you're a seller that's planning on, yeah, maybe I'll sell, and then I can use that money, I really think now is the best time for those sellers to consider selling, especially if they have rentals. That's like, if you have rentals, it's like, it totally makes sense. So
yeah. Are you still having a house built? Like, is it supposed to be completed next year or something?
yeah.
So then for you, I would sell at the top of the market, because you do have all these rentals. You have something that you're looking forward to moving into. But yeah, I think it's hard for a lot of people though. Like,
yeah, that I mean, another example there. So that home was supposed to be built for 625,000, and we were expecting that'd be a great home, 6 million.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, big baller here. And we were at like a 4% interest rate on that. And now, because of supply shortages and everything, we're looking at more like 675,000 at, I mean, probably by then a 6% interest rate. I mean, $1,000 more per month. So Yeah, it's crazy. This is
Well,
affecting
another
everyone.
another thing too, I mean, maybe this is the sunny side of it, is inflation too. So I always tell my buyers that you have to look at it as a long-term investment, right? That's something that we should always say. But if you're looking at it a long term, you need a house now, you need it now. You know, refinance down the line or whatever it
Absolutely.
is. If you need to sell now. Don't try to go with the wave constantly, because I feel like, you know, even if prices do go down, if we continue with inflation, at that point, you know, the equity still comes back because
I
you bought it at
completely agree with that. Yeah, I think the main buyer who I would be trepidatious about buying a home is maybe a VA buyer who might be stationed here for 2 to 4 years, but they might have to move in 2 years.
Yeah.
Those are the type of buyer who I would really consider renting. And I've never said that in my career, never. And now is the first time that I'd be like, if you may have to sell in 2 years, that would be a tough one for me to convince you to buy a home. But using a buyer like you, Rachel, who you could live here for 5 to 10 years and be totally happy, who cares, right? If the market dips tomorrow after you close on a home, it doesn't matter because you're not selling tomorrow. So I completely agree with that, Hannah. You can buy a home with a high interest rate. You still can afford the payment. You know, that sucks. But in a few years, interest rates will go down and the market will go back up. It always does. Especially
flippers are in a bad position right now.
Completely agree with that. Yeah.
Are the ones that should be scared.
Yeah. No, I just finished my first flip with a couple partners, and we got out right in time, but it went fine, and we learned a lot, and we were like, oh, okay, let's go buy the next one. And now we're like, no, no, we're definitely chilling, because I'm not confident. Flippers need the market to at least stay where it's at, or else it massively factors into their bottom line. So flippers are a big one.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still encouraged. I think this is a good opportunity. I think a lot of real estate brokers are going to sit on their butt and not just kind of say woe is me and hope for the best and nothing's going to happen. And those are the ones who are going to lose. And everyone, at least on this phone call, we're all hustlers and we're going to get through this. And I would just say, business isn't going to come as easy as it has in the past. So, we just have to hustle and show how we're different from everybody else.
Yeah, I saw an Instagram post or a reel or something, and it was saying that this year, 2022, this was in the beginning of the year too, that a lot of real estate agents are going to get out of the industry.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't say that's too soon, because it happened to me, but still, I mean, it's crazy, because the last 2 years during COVID, every person became a real estate agent. Like,
yeah,
everyone I know is a real estate agent now. So I wonder how that's going to play out in this upcoming year.
Well, work on your value proposition. What do you offer that other brokers don't offer? And then be consistent about it. Like one mistake I see a lot of people make, actually I made this, and I just the past couple years started to stop doing this. I would treat my listings differently depending on the price point. So $350,000 listing, yeah, we're gonna get some nice pictures. Great. And bigger listing, I'm going to do a video and a Matterport and pictures and so on. You don't want to be that guy. You want to be the person who goes all out on every single listing, because your listings are your resume too. If you say that, you're the best marketing listing broker out there, and then they look at your past 2 listings and all you did was some pictures from the cheapest photographer you could find, that doesn't speak well to your quality. And so, show your value, find a lender who offers something different than other lenders, right? Be different from the rocket mortgage lenders and say, yeah, most lenders aren't going to tell you this, but have you heard about debt consolidation loans? Have you heard about ARMs? Offer things that they maybe aren't thinking about. I feel like that's key, because like you said, Hannah, if there was, you know, if 1 out of 100 people were real estate brokers 5 years ago, it's got to be closer to 6, 7, 8 out of 100 people are real estate brokers. Those numbers are wrong, but the percentages I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so you have to distinguish yourself from all those real estate brokers, and it's not that hard. Sorry, it's not. I'm just being totally honest, especially with the people on this call. Christy's a perfect example. I'm not just saying this because you're on the call, Christy, but Christy came out and just right out of the gun was hustling on social media and started getting a lot of leads from that. And like, and she's separating herself just by showing how active she is. She's always educating on social media. So, I mean, again, I'm struggling with this too, because last year I had a great year and I wasn't lazy. I worked more hours than I ever thought was possible in a week, every single week, but I was lazy on prospecting because the leads just came in. I prospected way less last year than I have maybe ever in my career, because it was like, oh, sweet, come on, let's go. Like lots of buyers, lots of sellers. This is easy. And that's not going to happen anymore. You have to go seek them out and show them your value and stay in touch with them. And if somebody's not ready to sell right now, that's not a no, that's a no right now. And contact them in a month and say, by the way, interest rates are here now. Just wanted to send you this. Interest rates are here now. Send unsolicited CMAs, right? Have you guys all seen our new CMA tool, by the way?
I love it. I love, is it the Cloud CMA? Oh my God, it's so beautiful. I've done four in the last 2 weeks. It's so beautiful.
Hannah, have you seen it?
No.
Hannah, it's unbelievable. It is seriously. So I used to do CMAs the standard way, you know, you go sold in the past 180 days, 500 to 550, whatever. And I'm actually just going to do this really quick, just to show you how simple this is. Oops. Okay, so I have a home in Lincoln District with those, you know, that rough criteria. And I want to take these 5 comps. I go results. So in the past, I used to just select those all after, you know, I do a little more research in them, right? And I'd go print, or I could use the CMA tool that the MLS had and do something like this and show them this and come to my appointment with this. And people would be like, oh, cool, thanks. And it worked. Again, though, listings weren't very hard because it was like, hey, by the way, you thought your home was worth 500. It's actually worth 550. And, you know, this is fine. This is, you know, it's nice. It shows you the average list price and the average sold price and, you know, all the information they need, but it's not very sexy. Now, you can click here, Cloud CMA. You would have gotten an email, Hannah, from Cloud CMA. If you have trouble with that, reach out to Rachel and she can help you. She can resend that to you. You click Cloud CMA, and it is so easy to make a report, and the reports look so cool. Let's go. Type in notes here, you put in the address.
Private notes, or is that something for you, or will it show up?
Private notes don't appear in the report, so that's for you. Yes.
Duh. Can you read, Hannah?
No, I actually I read it. I read it because I didn't know off the top of my head.
Did you take a look at like all the different flyers and stuff that they offer too, which I thought that was pretty cool. It'll just pull from your listing, and there was like literally like 25 different options of like how you wanted them.
Yeah, there's so much you can do there. You can add a cover photo. You can just go to Google Images or Google Map and like take a screenshot, or if you have a picture, you can add that there. And then fetch listings. I mean, I'm doing this really quickly, but you could seriously make such a better report in 20 minutes.
Does it still have landing pages that you can put together? A couple years ago it had that, but yeah, those are really handy for open houses, which hopefully eventually people will start doing again.
So anyways, when you're done here, you can go customize report and it will have a nice report, but then the report also comes as a link and you can do it on like an iPad or a computer. It's crazy. You can add a cover letter, but you don't need to add any of these things. You can just add what you want to add. again, I'm doing this so quickly. You can add so much more than that, but if you're in a hurry, you can keep it this simple and flyer. Oh no, that's not what I want to do. Copy live link. This is what I want to show you.
Or you could just view that PDF too.
Yeah, so the PDF, you can view the PDF. I'll show you that first.
That will, yeah.
Oh my gosh, this internet is killing me. Okay, so this is a report. This is the default image, but you can have a different image. Hannah, again, here's the default cover letter. You can have a different cover letter, but I mean, look how much nicer this looks.
Oh yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
this is good stuff.
Yep, and then this is what the link, you can send this to them. And so this is your agent, this is his company, this is his CMA, these are the comps. I mean, it's like a landing page.
And this is the link.
Yeah, this is a link. Yeah, I'll send this to you right now. Anyways, I think the moral of that story is now is not the time to be lazy with anything we do. Like now is the time to really separate yourself. And you know, for your clients why you're different. Because if Hannah is going to a listing appointment, if we're entirely equal on everything, but Hannah's going to a listing appointment with this, and I'm going with this, who's gonna win? I mean, that's considering the fact that I'm really good looking. So,
I mean, obviously Hannah.
Because I come with a cup of coffee too.
yeah,
We probably got you beat on looks. Sorry, Isaac.
I know. But I mean, seriously, it's not even close. And this is how I came to listing appointments, with a stupid report like this. It's not even close. This is so much cooler. And Hannah, if you use this with your iPad, it just looks really cool. Yeah.
The link, you mean, right?
Yeah, or even on your phone. Yeah, I mean, just pull up the link on your phone, and even if you didn't have, like, if you're in a hurry, okay, somebody's like, you meet me here in an hour, and so you do not have time to do much except for what I just did. Now you can go with this and show them everything from your phone, and then send it to them and show. I mean, it has everything. I'm always surprised, but yeah, super cool.
I like it. This is coming in handy.
Yeah, definitely. Cool, guys. Well, I don't need to take up any more time. Wow, that was an hour. That was good.
Yeah, that was awesome, you guys. That was fun to like sit here and listen to. I feel like I've got like inside knowledge now.
Absolutely.
Rachel, don't get too impressed when he comes with the Cloud CMA.
Oh yeah, no, I'm really thinking about switching agents now. I mean, everybody seems to like Hannah.
Well, I will bring the coffee. I will bring the coffee. It will come in a fancy little mug like this too.
Hannah, that'll be a 50% referral fee.
25 and it's all yours.
Okay. Oh man. Well, this was good, guys. I think we should do more meetings like this.
Me too.
We obviously, our goal, I've said this many times, but our goal with these office meetings are not to waste your time. Like, we want this to be valuable. So we just sent out that survey. If you guys haven't had a chance to fill that out, would love to hear your guys' thoughts on other ways we can, improve what we offer. But Kim, who's our new office manager in Gig Harbor, she sent out a survey, and it's just asking questions about like our meetings and different things we're considering adding to our brokerage. So yeah, would love to hear your guys' thoughts on what we can do to provide value.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week, I guess.
Sounds good. Have a good day.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Bye.